What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and today we have it for you here, folks. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C923 coming out of Heaven Hill Distillery. This has been talked about a lot here on Whiskey Tube. I got to tell you, a lot of great reviews on this, and I'm not going to give you anything different. I'm actually going to save you a little bit of time today. So, we've already heard all of the great things about this bottle. Whiskey of the Year contender, the best Elijah Craig Barrel Proof ever to be put out, but during this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week, we are going to put that to the test because I do still have some Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B517 that was apparently the best stuff they ever put out. That was some of the earlier releases coming out of Elijah Craig in the Barrel Proof program. So I'm going to pour that up next to the C923 after we do a quick review on this bottle right here. This is coming in at 13 years, 7 months compared to the 12 years that the B517 is coming out at. So let's try this out. Everybody knows before we get started on all of that, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. I mean, it's delicious. So here's the deal. We have a lot going on here on Bourbon of the Week. We've got this review. We've got Jack Daniel's 10. We've got a couple barrel picks coming out with the Bourbon Judge, the Bourbon Van, 21090. A lot of fun things happening. We've got, of course, 5 Days of Christmas coming out where we do 5 days of giveaways. Make sure you click that subscribe button so you can be privy to all of that information. And join the Discord if you haven't already. The Discord link in the description below. We have a lot of fun in there as well. But this bottle right here, we always start with drinkability, and let's start with that right now. So first, let's talk about what we know about this bottle. When it comes to drinkability, this is 133 proof. It's Heaven Hill, so it's 78% corn, 10% rye, 12% malted barley. It always throws me off because breaking bourbon usually goes corn, rye, malted barley, but for this one, they go corn, malted barley, rye. So I used to think it was actually 12% rye, but it's only 10% rye. That being said, at 133 proof, I mean, I let this sit open for a little while because I didn't want to go with the neck pour. Let's see how this drinks when it comes to drinkability. I mean, it's got a Kentucky hug. It's got a little bit of a burn to it, but I wouldn't put it in 130s by any means. I would probably say like 120, 125-ish. I would say closer to that 125 than 120. So let's go like right in the middle at like 123 is where I think I would put this. 123, supposed to be 133. That's not too bad at all. We give it an 8.0 if it drinks right at its proof. This obviously drinks way under its proof. We're talking 10 proof points difference. That's a pretty big deal. Let's give this a very good score when it comes to drinkability. And again, we already knew all this. I just wanted to see where exactly it falls on my ranking sheet. I mean, I have to go like 9.4s, 9.46 when it comes to drinkability. You don't get much better than that. There are a few bottles. This almost compares to like a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof or something like that. Haven't had a Larceny barrel proof that I truly loved in a long time, but those always drink very easy as well. Something with this high proof that drinks this easy deserves to be a 9.4. What did I say? 9.43? That sounds about right. And as you know, we're going to get the taste on this next, and that's where this bottle is going to truly shine. I'm sure you've heard all of these tasting notes before. There used to be a time where I didn't like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I thought there was a funkiness to it. Maybe I just wasn't used to the heat yet. It was early in my drinking career when it came to bourbon, especially higher proof bourbons, but then I fell in love with it, and I haven't looked back since. Let's take one more sip, and we'll get into the same tasting notes that everybody's already told you. I mean, let me just spit them off for you, right? You get that dark fruit note. Maybe for me, it's a dark cherry. Some people call it raspberry. I don't get the raspberry influence quite as much. That 13 years, 7 months stands out on this glass and not in a bad way. It's a sweet barrel char, if you ask me. You get all of those vanillas and those caramels that you absolutely love. You get a little bit of that nuttiness from Heaven Hill that everybody talks about. Maybe more of a hazelnut when it comes to this particular one. The spices on this, fantastic. The roller coaster ride, we always talk about. And then again, at the very end, it's not tannic. It's not dry. It's super sweet forward, super spicy in the middle. And then I want to say like, I don't want to say velvety, but I almost want to say like buttery in the texture, not in the taste. It's just very dense, very heavy. I love everything about this. A fantastic pour right here. If you have an opportunity, you got to try this bottle. I mean, when you're talking about this time of the year, this is exactly what the body needs. Just got back from vacation, a long weekend, took the kids out to Salem to do Halloween the right way, and came back. The house was at 58 degrees because I forgot to turn the heat on when we left, and this was exactly what I needed. Turned on the fireplace, poured up a glass of this, and everything else just hit the spot. This bottle right here, we've got to go back into the nines. I'm going to say like a 9.46 when it comes to taste on this. There's always room for improvement, but that's definitely one of the higher scores, 9.46. And we haven't even talked about the best part about this bottle at all, the price. Now, so far this year, we only have one bottle that I've even mentioned the word 2023 Whiskey of the Year contender for, and that was 13th Colony Double Oaked. Now, we did not get a bottle. We only got a sample of that bottle, which means when it comes to the end of the year, if we can't get another sample or somehow get our hands on a bottle, it's going to be tough to put it in the 2023 Whiskey of the Year contention because I won't be able to try them all next to each other. This bottle, on the other hand, will absolutely be up there. We already know that. The question is, though, at $70 compared to something like, I don't know, that was coming out on Sealbox at $200, what are we really talking about here? You cannot beat this value. It seems like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof and Rare Breed are the two bottles that everybody talks about when they say best bang for your buck. The cool thing about Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs is they change up. They have the A, the B, the C. They have 2021, 2022, 2023, and they keep changing, while Rare Breed is obviously a staple at what they produce. This bottle right here is just a lot of fun, and it seems like they're bringing back the version that everybody loves. Let's give this a score when it comes to a $70 price point. I don't really know what else you're looking for out there for a $70 bottle of whiskey if it's not this right here. Now, we talk about special releases, and we have a lot of single barrels out there. Russell's Reserve has some great single barrels that I think compare to this. Then we have Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof that has some single barrels that compare to this. This technically isn't a single barrel, but at the same time, it is that limited release. Once C923 is gone, it's gone. You're not going to be able to get your hands on it. So availability is definitely going to be an issue when it comes to this bottle, especially after all of the great reviews. That being said, 13 years, 7 months, $70 bottle of whiskey. This good when it comes to taste. This good when it comes to drinkability. What else can you want? Average score for an average bottle at $50. This is above average on everything. So we're going above average when it comes to our price score. One more sip. We'll finish this off before we try it next to the B517. 9.62, stamp it. We've got to do it because we're talking about a bottle at $70 compared to a bottle from 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Quick math for you. That's 6 years later and a $10 increase because this bottle used to be $60. It's got the 12-year age statement. They dropped the age statement, by the way. I don't know if we talked about that. They obviously have 13 years, 7 months on this. They're going to do age statements per release rather than just keeping the 12-year age statement. I think it's a smart move if they plan on putting older whiskey in it. Once they get into those 9s, 10s, and 11s, then it might be an issue to not have the 12-year-old age statement. But 9.62 on price, and let's pour it up next to this B517 for our Bourbon Bomb of the Week. So in case you don't know how this works, this is the Great Whiskey Challenge Tasting Kit. We have bottle A with glass A, bottle B with glass B, obviously the B517 over here, C923 over here. This was Whiskey of the Year in 2000. I believe they picked it in 18, but of course talking about 2017, this is obviously a contender this year, and people are saying the best Elijah Craig Barrel Proof of all time, so we're really going to put that to the test because this was the number one before this C923 came out. Let's mix these up and see who reigns champion. All right, seems good enough to me. So I gotta say, I haven't tried the B517 in quite some time. I do remember not liking it when I first got it. I actually traded this with a random guy that knew my mom when I first got into whiskey. I wanted a Stag Junior. He was like, hey, I have this Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B517. It's really good. You should try it. I was like, hey, I'll try it. No reason not to. Met him at a giant parking lot, picked it up, and that was that. We've had it ever since. So it has been sitting for quite some time compared to the C923 over here, but let's try it out. We don't know which one this is. Time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. I mean, damn, that is good. Now, the Elijah Craig B517 does come in at 124.2 proof, so quite a bit lower than the 133 for the C923, but I don't know if we're going to be able to tell with how easy both of these drink. Okay, we can tell. I mean, just going off of proof here. Now, I know I said this drank more like 125 than it did 133, but then again, this at 124.2 also sipped very easy, so it probably sipped more like 115 than it did 124. So we're talking 115 versus 125. You can tell, and I feel like, as of right now, this has to be the B517, and I'm just going off of proof points here, but I will say, both delicious when it comes to taste. We got to get back into these. I'll probably finish both of these tonight. I got nothing to do tomorrow. I mean, what else are you really looking for? I feel like I can also pull out a bit of an age difference on this. Again, I know we're talking about 13 years, 7 months versus 12 years, but remember, that's the youngest whiskey in this, not the oldest whiskey. I'm still leaning C923 on this one. Some people tell me not to guess, just enjoy it and pick your favorite, but it's hard not to guess at the end of the day. I'll be honest with you, I've been back and forth on these a couple of times now, and I thought they were going to be a lot more different than they are. This one over here is so much lighter compared to this glass over here. This is so robust, so dense, so buttery, so oily when it comes to the texture, while this one right over here seems like more of a summer sipper, and that's not normally what you're getting in a barrel-proof bourbon, but something that I would truly enjoy in the spring or the summertime. But right now, this glass just seems to be hitting a little bit different. But at the end of the day, my flavor profile, what I would typically enjoy, would usually be something more like this glass right here, which is going to make this very difficult to call. Here's what I'm thinking. Drinkability wise, it's got to go to this glass over here. But the thing is, and the reason I don't love to do blinds sometimes is because if this is 124 proof, of course it's going to do better drinkability wise. That being said, price we've got to cancel out, right? A $70 bottle now versus a $60 bottle then is about the same. If anything, the $70 bottle now is more impressive given the fact that people are asking probably like $120 for this bottle if you really think about what they could get for this bottle. $60 at the time might have been a step up from what people were willing to pay because you didn't quite know about stuff like this, these annual 3-time releases, because it was kind of new at the time. That being said, drinkability over here, price is wiped out, so it's going to come down to taste. And I got to tell you, I just don't know which one I like better. Now, I think the only fair way to call this, taking price out of the equation, because I think they're very equal when it comes to price, and drinkability we don't quite know because we are doing this blind, which is one of the downfalls of doing blinds, is if this is drinking at 124 proof and it drinks this hot, then it's not that great. But if this is 133 proof and it's drinking this easy, then it's fantastic. But we don't know that because we're doing it blind. So we're strictly going off of taste here, and I think I gotta give the nod to this glass over here. As much as I love this flavor profile, this right now is just hitting my palate so well, so easy. And I do think it's the C923, not because it's recency bias or anything like that, but comparing these two side by side, I think right now I would much rather have this glass than this glass, but there's only one way to find out which one we picked. Cheers, y'all. We'll sleep good tonight. Cheers, y'all. I mean, they're both so damn good. Here's what I'll say. If I flip this glass, I'm going to flip this glass first because it lost. If I flip this glass and it's the C923 and it drank that easy, null and void. There's no way that you can't pick this glass because the taste wasn't that far behind that the drinkability should be that far ahead. But that being said, I think this glass is going to be the C923 and it's going to be our winner. And this glass over here is which means it is the B5. This is a fantastic bottle right here. The B517 is an absolute banger when it comes to a Elijah Craig barrel proof. But for me, C923 is the winner when it comes to B517 versus C923. And for right now, it's sitting atop our list at a 9.503. I'll tell you about the 03, but we'll call it a 9.50. I mean, what can I say? You probably already knew coming into this video that this bottle was going to be a banger. It's definitely going to be a Whiskey of the Year contender. I can't wait to see who actually picks it as their number one. If you don't know the way I do it, I take some of the bigger content creators, I take their number one in their Whiskey of the Year if I have it in my collection, and then I pin them against each other. So you know my opinion on the best of the best, not just the top 10, because you already have my list for 2023. But that's where we're going to leave you for today, a 9.50 on Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C923. Make sure you click that like and that subscribe button if you made it this far in the video. Check out our Discord, that link in the description below. Patreon, that link in the description below. We have 3 barrel picks coming out, and you want to be a part of that. The only way to do it is to join the Patreon. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. Go click that follow button over there. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly. Stay healthy, stay happy. And as always, stay drinking. Cheers, y'all.